Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Jessica. I am a library clerk with the Macedon Public Library. Today, I'm going to show you a little tutorial on how to crochet a Freezy Pop Cozy. Now, you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a Freezy Pop Cozy? I saw this pattern the other day online, and I thought it was really cute. It's just basically like a little crocheted tube that you make to go around any of your standard sized Freezy Pops. Just put that on there like that, and that way, you know, when your kids are holding their Freezy Pops or adults, whoever, it keeps your hand from getting cold. So if you're like me, I have two kids. They love Freezy Pops. They usually grab a paper towel or something, and then those paper towels just either end up on the floor or hopefully in the garbage, but they usually end up just being used to keep their hands from getting too cold, and then they're thrown away. So this is a way to make something that's reusable, that's also cute, and this way they can keep reusing them. And also, if you make one that's open on the bottom, they can slide up and down. And so I'm going to show you how to make that today, and it's a great pattern for people who have been crocheting for a long time, as well as people who are new to it. You can see in the background there, I've got one of my projects I've been working on. It's a blanket I've been doing. So you can see I've been crocheting since I was probably about 8, so taught by my mother and my grandmother. So, all right, I am going to put the pattern up on the screen here in a little bit, but just to get started, you want to start with a hook that is, depending on the weight of yarn that you're using, generally you want to go for a medium or worsted weight yarn, so just your basic regular acrylic yarn. And if you're doing that, you want to use, I was using a G for that, or about a 4.25 millimeter, which sounded really small to me, but it actually ended up working out just fine. If you are using a different kind of yarn, if you're using one that's smaller, or even one that's bigger, there really isn't any problem with just adjusting your amount of stitches to what you need. So I'll show you how you do that. So if you're using just a standard size yarn and a standard size G sized hook, what you want to do is go ahead and start by first making your knotted loop. And how I do that is I basically take my yarn, put it over the hook, and I cross it over. So you can see it's got a little cross there. Hold on to that, and then I yarn over and pull up a loop through that little crossed loop I just made and tighten it. And that's how I make my first loop and have it knotted off. That's just how I do it. Some people do it other ways, but I found that to be quite easy. Now you want to just chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've got 15 there. Now, if you are modifying this, or if you just want to check, all you really need to do is get your Freezy Pop, wrap it around, and as long as it kind of comfortably fits around there, you're just fine. If you need to add a few stitches, you'll be fine. Just, remember how many stitches you're working with, so that as you go around. So now that you've got your chain, without twisting your chain, you want to fold it back, and you want to slip stitch into that first stitch from when you began. So how you slip stitch is you just insert your hook into that first stitch, yarn over, and pull through both loops. That is a slip stitch. So you're not adding any height, you're just connecting the 2 stitches. Now you're going to chain 1, and this does not count as a stitch. This is just to get you the right height, because we're going to be working in half double crochets. So in that same first stitch that I slip stitched into, I'm going to do my first half double crochet. So how you do a half double crochet is you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over again, pull up that loop, yarn over one more time, and pull through all 3 of these loops that are on your hook. So you're going to pull through all 3 of them. And that is your first half double crochet. And you're going to do that in each one, going all the way around. So you're going to have a total of 15 stitches, just like you started with. So that was the first one. So we're going to go into the next one. That's 2. 3. And again, half double crochet is yarn over, insert into your stitch, yarn over again, pull up a loop, yarn over one more time, pull through all 3 loops. So that is 1, 2, 3. I was on 4, sorry. And you're just going to do that till you have all 15 stitches. 6, 7, and you will not have to watch me create this whole thing. I will pause it at one point so that you can see the pattern, and I will skip ahead a little bit so you don't have to sit here and watch me do this the whole time. I'm just going to show you the beginning, so that, because once we get the beginning down, then it's just a matter of adding some more rows. Currently I'm doing this with, actually, instead of an acrylic yarn, I'm actually doing this part with, this time I decided to try a cotton yarn. I had the Sugar and Cream brand cotton yarn because I want to do something a little special with this particular pattern. And I'll show you that when I get a little further. In this one, I'll actually also show you how to do a color change. So let me see. And if you are not sure how many stitches you have, you can always count your little, your stitches here along the top, so you know how many you have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have all 15 of my stitches. What I'm going to do is connect them by slip stitching into my first half double crochet. So we're going to go over, we're skipping over where I did that first chain, and that was just to get the height up so that my piece wasn't pulling. That's why it also doesn't count as a stitch. So we're just going to slip stitch into that first half double crochet. Now you're going to find that your outside at this point is looking like the wrong side. So you just want to pop it inside out so that you're working on the pretty side. In an effort to show this a little easier, I didn't crochet over my tails. That's usually how I weave in my tails, because I hate weaving in tails. So I like it better when I can just crochet over it. But you can always take this later too and just weave in your ends. All right, so for the second round, again, you're going to do a chain 1, and then you're going to do your first half double crochet in the same stitch that you slip stitched into. That counts as your first stitch, and then again 14 more around, so that you have a total of 15. And 5. So it's going to start, it's going to start looking like this. It's going to start building around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share the screen, which shows the pattern written out. And I'm going to keep going on this. And here you can see the pattern. It's very simple. I'm going to keep going, and when I come back, we will be able to see what it looks like, and I'm going to change colors. At one point, I'll show you how to change colors. Now, if you're just working with one color, you would do this for about 11 rows. Or if you're working with a smaller yarn or a larger yarn, you just want to make it about the size of, comfortably covering your hand. So I'm going to turn the little video off for a minute so you guys can see this, and I'll be back. All right, and I'm back. I did pause the video, so no, I did not do this in just a couple of minutes there. It's been about 15 minutes. So we'll go back to the larger video here. So this is what I have so far. At this point, I've done about, one of my hairs stuck in there. I've done about 9 rows. I've done 15 stitches on the 9th row, and I'm about to change color. So what I'm going to do is to slip stitch to complete that row. And I'm going to take my scissors and cut my red yarn off here. Give myself a nice little tail there to weave in. And I'm going to attach this green yarn. And then after that, I'm actually going to attach a darker green yarn. So you might be able to tell what I'm trying to do is make like a little bit of a watermelon design here. So how I attach a new color is I just take the color I want to add. I don't create like a loop with a knot because I feel like the knots end up creating too much, bulk, like sticking out the side. So what I do is I just take it like this and I put it over my hook. So I'm basically making a loop, but I'm just holding it with my fingers. And then I'm going to pull that through to make my chain 1. See, now I've got the green yarn on my hook. And I'm going to take my tails and lay them over top of the next row so that I can just crochet right over them and weave in my ends that way. So with the green yarn now, I'm just working with the green. I'm going to go ahead, do my first half double crochet, and I'm doing it over top of those ends. There's 1, and I'm just going to do 15 around just like I was doing before. 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can kind of see that that's where I attach that. And I have found this to be the easiest way for me to weave in my ends. I don't really like going back at the end and having them weave them in. I like just going, if I have the option to go right over top of them. It does sometimes take a little bit of finesse to kind of, you know, get everything into the place that you need it, but it's definitely worth it. Mm. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now that I've gone 15 around, I'm going to slip stitch into that first half double crochet. And now what I'm going to do, since I'm going for this watermelon effect, is I'm going to attach the darker green. So again, I'm going to cut myself a tail there. I'm going to get my darker green, which is, I got a little tangle here. So let me just, oh, no, okay. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take this, make it, whoops, see, sometimes it gets a little tricky to do this, but just kind of pinch a loop there. So I'm not putting a knot in it, and I'm just pulling up a loop, laying my tails down over my work so that I can just crochet, oops, right over top of them. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell what's what, but you know, it's easy enough to work out. So there's 1, 2, 3. I got a bit of fuzz on my nose. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 'caught on something. There we go. 9, 10. And if I get tired of, oh, sorry, my nose itch. If I get tired of kind of going over those tails, what I can do is sometimes I will, if I think I've gone over them enough, I'll just kind of give the work a little tug to make sure that they're good and seated in there, and then, you know, snip them off and keep going. That way I don't, you know, end up having to go around them the whole round. But I give it a little tug to make sure that, you know, if the piece gets pulled a little later, those ends don't pop out. But we are almost done here. Make sure I've got the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I've got one more. And then just finish it off by slip stitching into that first half double crochet. And there you have it. So what I might do actually, and I won't make you guys watch this on camera, but if I ever want to pause my work, I pull a big large loop through and pull it tight. That way it's not gonna, you know, come loose unless it's really tugged. Because I might actually add one more round of the dark green just to make it a little bit more watermelony. But just to show you, here we have our now slightly melted Freezy Pop, which is going to be a little harder to put in here, but there you go. So there you go. I've got my watermelon inspired Freezy Pop cozy. Later I will weave in this tail and I'll weave in the top tail, but I think I'm going to do one more round of the dark green. And if you want, you could even go back and do maybe a little bit of embroidery work with a black thread to make it look like seeds. These little things are so much fun because there is no end to the customization. You can do with colors, with patterns. You can even do ones that are actually gathered at the end, beginning with a circle or a magic circle, which I've never perfected the magic circle. You pull it tight, but you can actually have them tight so that they don't come off the bottom, they don't slide up and down. I've seen ones with little mermaid tails off the base. They're really cute. So it's a really simple project. I mean, from start to finish, it took me maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and that's because I've always been a fairly moderately paced crocheter. I know there's some people that can do it faster than I can, but it's a lot of fun and the kids absolutely love it. My son has not stopped playing with the blue one I made him. And another thing is about care and cleaning of them. If they do get some of the sugary freeze pop juice on them, just give them a rinse, maybe a tiny bit of dish soap, and scrub it in, rinse it out real good. And then I would just stick it over like the end of a spoon or something in your dish rack and let it dry. Or, based on what kind of yarn you use, you can most likely just throw them right in the washer or dryer as well. But I mean, even just to hand wash them is super simple. And then we just throw them in a drawer so that the kids always know where they are. So that's a fun little project, super quick, good for beginners as well as advanced crocheters. So I do thank you for joining me today. I hope this was fun and helpful to you, and I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you later.